Welcome to the Best Counsel, aka Advice I Can Offer podcast. First, I would like to make the following disclaimer. This is not an advice podcast. I do not offer advice. I offer what I consider to be counsel. Counsel is what I have learned and what I have experienced in my life journey. If something I say on this podcast resonates with you and can help you, good. But I am not telling you what to do. I am just offering counsel. This is Reverend Cornelius Brown, and I would like to welcome you to episode 4 of my podcast series, 7 Things Every Married Couple Should Know. Episode 4 is entitled The Third Person. On the day that I married my wife Terry, I loved her. And 38 years later, I can say that I love her even more. One of the reasons I can say I love her even more is because of the third person in our marriage. When I say there is a third person in our marriage, I'm talking about the third person that it talks about in Genesis 2:24 in the Bible. According to Genesis 2:24, at marriage, two people become one flesh. It took years for me to fully understand what this chapter 2:24 in Genesis is saying truly means. Two people become one and create a third person. The two of you as individuals in your marriage will always be individuals. But the power and blessing of two people joining in marriage and the two of them being committed in the marriage will help to create this third person who has all of his creativity, but also has all of her stability and focus. The third person that you create is smarter, is more creative, is able to embody all the best of both of you in your gifts and talent. It took me years to recognize that as much as I love my wife, I was loving that third person we create together even more, because the person we created together was smarter, more powerful, more intelligent, more loving, and could accomplish more things than I or her could ever hope, because we combined our talents into one. When I was a single individual, I had creativity, I had drive, but I did not have the stability and organizational discipline that my wife possessed and brought to the marriage. I cannot count how many things I have been able to accomplish because of my gifts and my wife's discipline and stick to it. Something I have not always had. I want to begin to wrap up this podcast, but I need to share with you how I know that there is a third person who is the best of both of us and helps us to achieve blessings. On one occasion, when I and my wife were going through a 3-day rule situation in our marriage, If you don't know about the 3-day rule in your marriage, go back and listen to episode 2 of this series. We were going through a 3-day rule situation, my mess up, of course, and I had a project that I needed to complete right away. But we were in day 2 of the 3-day rule, which meant we were not talking except as needed. And while trying to finish this project, I was missing her smarts and her preciseness. She was not available for me to lean on. I completed the task, but of course, it was not up to my standards. It was not my usual tight, accurate, and smart work. There is no question in my mind that if the third person that I and my wife create when we are in harmony as mates had completed the project, I would have aced it as always. Thanks for listening, and I hope you will tune in next week for episode 5 of this series. Episode 5 is entitled Trust. Please tell someone about 7 things every married couple should know. You never know the way or how you might bless them. Take care.